Junkies.
Toxicity in fandom. But keeping it, establishing fandom and, not gatekeeping people. I know a lot of women a lot of times would love to be, actually would consider themselves be a part of the fandom if it weren't for a lot of the gatekeeping that a lot of the guys do. Like even guys that always try and check their credentials, when they say, oh, I'm a fan. Just like, oh yeah, well, what about this character? You know about this character? Like this happens to anime fangirls all the time.
Well, okay, here's the thing on that. Here's my take on that.
Yeah.
The guys that do that are stupid because how many is like you've just found a unicorn in most cases.
Right.
You found somebody that either likes what you like or they are willing to learn about what you like. And if you're going to sit there and run them down over like admission fees, basically, you're stupid. So it's
I like that. Yeah.
It's like, let's be real. All of us are old enough to remember back in high school, our fandom would have been basically looked down upon, shamed.
Oh, bro.
And you would have never found very few women that were interested in the same things we were interested in,
And
or at least open about it. Right.
Very
exactly.
open about it. Right.
So for somebody to gatekeep on that level, it's like, dude, just you're dumb,
man.
And continue enjoy in your ignorance and stupidity. It's like I would welcome somebody liking what I like, being willing to learn about what I like, because it's like that's to me. It's like, look, I'm finding another me. So like, how much more perfect can you get? So keep it going.
Yeah. There's been plenty of women that I knew back in high school that openly admit to liking what we like now, and I'm like, excuse me,
it's like, why didn't you
where
like
were you? like where were you back then? Like, come on, you're like, we would have been a little bit better. She was like, nah, I wasn't open about that.
Yeah,
it's like you was open about it, I wasn't open about it anyway. So let's start talking about what makes toxicity, and what even started this conversation was when the Snyder Cut was greenlit. And the vindication of the Snyder Cut movement seemed to have been validated. And I even said at the time when the Snyder Cut was greenlit by AT&T and by AT&T, Warner Brothers wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. So AT&T just said, hey, we need subscribers for HBO Max, so we're gonna kind of use these people and get some of these subscribers. And make no mistake, there was a report that just came out. Zack Snyder did definitely pump y'all. So I'm just saying, they definitely did use y'all.
But it worked out because out because in China that particular film was streamed 10 million times more than Endgame. So basically 250 million times.
Yeah.
And Endgame was at 240. Yeah. So it worked out for them.
It did. But a lot of people didn't like the message that it was sending. A lot of the tactics that the Snyder Cut movement would do on the internet, social media boards, and Reddit threads, and on Facebook and stuff like that, and they do it even now to this day. Whereas if you have a negative opinion about anything that they absolutely feel super passionate about, they will browbeat you. They will talk down about you. They will insult your intelligence. And that just speaks to one aspect of the toxicity in fandom. How did we even get here?
I have no problem with it, and here's why. They got what they wanted. They achieved a goal. They got something. They helped get something made that was, for many years, laughed about, that it didn't exist, wouldn't exist, and they got their wish granted. So I have zero problems with how they got it done. And it's like, look, you're welcome to try to browbeat me, insult my intelligence. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to stoop down to your level. That's beneath me. So let people talk all their big talk on the internet. It means nothing. Have fun.
Okay, that's one take on it. How did we get here to where people feel so passionate about what they like that they feel like they have to, I don't know, it's a crabs in the bucket mentality, where you feel like in order for you to feel good about what you love, you have to kick down somebody else that doesn't like what you love.
It's the internet, period. The problem is the internet is because, and it was like this in the beginning with the internet, and it's like this now. You hide behind your computer, you can say whatever the hell you want. and because nobody can do anything to you. Now, granted, there are people out there that have skills that would dock somebody and that
and they've done
swatting
that. They have done
that. I can, people have done that, which is that really hurts people, and that's some bullshit. But they do that because they can hide behind a computer, and you can say whatever the heck you want. Like seriously, if you were able to talk and you were sitting on Mars and the person on Earth can hear you, but they can't reach you, you're gonna talk as much shit as you want,
right? Because
nobody's gonna actually do anything. So I think it's just because the internet has allowed people to do that. There's no respect. A lot of people don't care. I'm going to say what I want, and I don't give a care.
Keyboard warrior syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. Because like back in the day, there's people who talk smack when we were playing fighting games, or you're playing a fighting game. But if you got pissed off and you start, doing it, you got somebody right there in your face.
Right.
Some people would back down.
Oh, yeah.
Other people, then you'll just, but an altercation is going to happen where it's not going to happen on the internet.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah. I've seen more than a few of those.
We need to get to the point where, like, you can be sitting there doing your keyboard warrior thing, and then the person's typing back, oh, okay, well, I hope that your daughter Emily makes it to school okay. On her bus that comes in at 8:45, coming in about 5 minutes there. I mean, I would be that. I'd be that person.
I'd be that guy.
I'd be literally like, you know what? Guess what? And oh yeah, turn around. Your cat's like your cat just died.
That talking tough on the internet stuff. Yeah, that's
but no, I would straight up be like Liam Neeson. Be like, I will find you. That would just be fun.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
I have to admit it would. But that is one aspect of toxicity that has been more rampant recently. And obviously, like even as Hannah Omega said in the chat, this isn't really necessarily anything new. People have felt very passionate about what they've loved, and they've written letters, they've complained, they've written threatening letters to actors before, sending like hate mail and stuff like that.
People still write letters.
I'm just saying. No, I'm talking about back in the past. I'm saying this is what. Yeah, no. Back in the past, they did that. Now they just flood social media and flood the stars' Instagram posts or Instagram profiles and get them, make them leave Twitter and stuff like that.
Here's my thing on that though, and I think this is part of the problem with social media is more access than people deserve.
Agreed.
And I think people don't understand that it's like, look. 20, 30 years ago, you would have been sending this letter and this thing to a fan club, and it basically would never would have got to the person in most cases. So you should be thankful that, let's say we've been talking about him all night. Henry Cavill, for example, decided to get on Twitter and answer your particular question or tweet or whatever. But like, it just really goes to show that social media. It's just like how TV used to be called the boob tube and the idiot box and all that other sort of thing. Social media is the next iteration of the idiot device.
Okay.
Where it's like unfortunately, you have to deal with everybody that has one and can get on internet.
Okay, that's fair.
And say what they got to say. There's some people that just do not have any tact and any common sense.
Ain't got no home training.
Exactly. And then we have a former president who's been kicked off of social media
permanently.
So that should let you know that if not everybody needs to have access to social media. Basically, King Amrock, I'm let you get in because I know you've been sitting there patiently.
You have.
Wait, no Zelda hat? What the heck? Wait, how did that happen? I just noticed that.
I have a lot of hats.
He does. Okay. That's only because he doesn't want to, show off the chocolate milk dud that's underneath the hat. That's all.
No, I don't mind the bald thing. I haven't shaved it, so it looks like.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you're having a bad hair day, you go ahead and leave it covered. Go ahead, man. What are we gonna, So the question I want to ask you then. So I'm gonna pose this question to you, and you tell me what you think. You've met with a lot of internet people and dealt with a lot of adversity online. Is there any turning back from this? Like, is there any going back?
No, because there are no consequences. It's only going to get worse because nothing's happening to people. Like, people are being as horrible as they could possibly be across fandom, across gaming. Like, chat rooms are terrible. Like, it's getting even worse in the younger communities. I've heard things that I wouldn't even say with my parents in the house, that these kids are, like, screaming at the top of their lungs and nothing's happening. So when they get my age, even worse. And their kids are going to learn that crap. Like,
What would you like to see happen?
Great question.
That's the double-edged sword of this. Is there's nothing that I would want to be taken away or monitored or changed that won't mess up my experiences.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm like, man, they gotta, put certain filters on this or put age caps on this and do that, then you're cutting off communities and wait times to be longer to get into certain games and all this stuff. And now I gotta sign this paper. Well, not paper, but I gotta check this box saying that I agree to these terms. And just like they're doing with listening to entire conversations that you're having while you're in chats and all this stuff to try to help ban people who are being negative and toxic, and it's still not working. They're just listening to everything everybody's saying with permission.
So what you're basically saying is the needs of the Amarok outweigh the needs of the many.
Yes.
Okay, and that's fair.
No, what I'm saying is I don't
style.
think there's really a way to do it yet.
Okay. Well, I think there's a way to do it, but I think if they were to do this, I think there would be a lot of people would be very, very, very against it. And
Shot collars.
that isn't what I was going to go with. I was really thinking more or less, and it'd be hard for you to lock people into it because the rise of VPNs and stuff like that might prevent it. But have everything be, have every device make it non-anonymous. You can't be logged in if you're in a VPN. Everything is logged to an IP. So they can find you.
Now you're getting into that part where everybody's worried about Big Brother and all that.
This is what I'm talking about.
Silent Bob.
Yeah. But that's the only way to curtail some of this nonsense.
Like I said, the easiest way to get around it is to grow a thick skin and grow a sharp tongue.
You basically would have to do that online because, nobody can be like Jay and Silent Bob. People remember back, I forget which movie it was, where people were talking shit about him on the internet, so they just pulled him up, went door to door, and beat everybody's ass.
Right.
Was that Strike Back? Or was that?
Yeah, I think that was Strikes Back.
So I'm going to read a couple of comments, and then we're going to go to the power is yours. So, Hannah Omega said there's two types of people. There's two types of people: those who divide people into types and those who don't.
It's more than just two.
Yeah, social media can't be getting rid of, but it can be modified. But it should be modified to be less toxic. The question is how. The question has always been how. Binary thinking leads to the division of society we see now. Which, okay, I guess I can kind of see that. Drist is saying the consequences are what cancel culture has evolved into. It's not working because humanity is lacking.
King Takeem said that you're pro registration.
Pro registration?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pro logging of devices.
That's registration.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, guess you team Iron Man then.
Don't you dare!
That's
you
team
dare!
Iron Man right there.
Don't you
Sokovia
dare!
Accords, sign up and everything.
The Iguana Man says the only way would be to require social security numbers to sign up for game accounts, and that's that's extreme already. Dude, so people,
Sony already proved they can barely handle a credit card.
Right?
They ain't about to get
no
security social security number. That's not happening.
It's like, I got your personnel. I got you.
Ooh. Minority Games talking bad about people. Said too many emotional guys, not enough fathers in the house. Whoa,
that's true though.
Yeah, okay.
That is very. That's it. Again, it goes back to, and Amarak was alluding to this. It goes back to upbringing. It goes back to, like, now, for example, we all are of a certain age, obviously. We were all brought up with parents that, like, there were certain things that you was allowed to do, and there were certain things that you wasn't allowed to do.
Right.
And you pretty much knew what you weren't allowed to do, and you kind of didn't do it in the house, at other friends' houses, and, like, maybe out in the street you kind of, bent the rules or whatever. But
of course.
It's like it was already known that there were certain things you were not going to do. A lot of that is going away as parents get younger and younger and younger.
It's almost like you're saying this generation is soft, man.
Well,
every generation is softer than the other one, according to the upper generation. No, I forget the terminology for it, but I watched a YouTube a long time ago, and I'm going to try to find it, where everybody who thinks that the younger generation is worse off than whatever, but it's neither here nor there, because everybody thought every single every single one. So I try not to get into that whole thing because it's going to be different. Things are going to seem different than when we were kids because it is different than when we were kids.
They're definitely different, but I think you have to remember our quote unquote babysitter was a person, not a device.
Not a device. Right.
So it's become a society where, you know, kids are interacting more so with devices and not people.
Machines are raising humans.
Granted, we all played games.
Yeah.
We all played games without a doubt. But what I'm saying is, in the sense of we had like, okay, you had your Nintendo, you had your Sega, whatever system you had, or if you had both or whatever, you played that. You went outside and played. You did, you know, you had a balance.
With your friends, right?
You don't see that as much now. Now it's literally game systems. Okay, I'm done with my game. Going on to my tablet. Okay, I'm done with my tablet. Got my cell phone.
Yeah.
It's there's very little human interaction throughout throughout most of their days. It's just, again, it's like you said, it's different, but I think that's where you're getting into that situation where people are more willing to, like you said, talk trash because there's no repercussions because you're in California and I'm talking trash to you here from Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Versus, now you're going to go out and talk that same trash to somebody right in your face? Highly doubt it.
Doubtful, right.
So, I mean, I think that's the difference. Hey, we hope you enjoyed that clip. Make sure you check out our live content on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/culturejunkies. We also have a lot of content available on YouTube, unboxings as well as Blu-ray reviews. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/culturejunkies. And on top of all of that, if you go to culturejunkies.net, you can check out our merch store. The link is culturejunkies.net/merch. There's a lot of great merchandise there. So there's links and logos and stuff all around me. So check those out, and we will see you next time.